Okay, it's 2 o'clock when you're ready.
Good morning. This is the February 3rd Ordinance Rules and Standards Committee, and I'd like to welcome everyone who's joining us today. First of all, I'd like, Pat, could you do a roll call, please?
Sure. Chair Ariskog,
Here.
Member Cooney.
Here.
And now if we could all stand to say the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Just to ask staff, are there any changes to the agenda?
There are no changes to the agenda.
Okay, Ted, would you like to make a motion to approve the agenda?
Move for approval of the agenda.
Second.
Member Cooney,
Yes.
Chair Ariskog.
Yes. And if there's anyone from the public who can't stay for the agenda item that they're here to speak on today, you're welcome to speak now during public comments or communications from citizens. Otherwise, if you want to wait until the agenda item, we will move forward to our regular agenda. Is there anyone who wants to speak, Antoinette, now?
I do not see any hands that anyone's indicated they'd like to speak.
Okay, well, maybe we'll go right into old business then on the regular agenda. Further review of Chapter 42 of the Town Code, Article 5, noise. And I'm going to have, is Skip on with us yet, Jay? Yes. Great. Skip, I'd like to ask you a question before we dive into this. Have you had a chance, Skip, to go through the memo and make recommendations according to what you feel is constitutional or not constitutional within our ordinance?
Yes, I've reviewed the memo, and the memo is very good as it addresses the law, but it doesn't help you in regard to what might be unlawful in the code and what might not be. And my suggestion would be to allow me or someone in my office to actually go through our code and indicate what might need to be changed. I think you'll just be talking, how do I want to put this? You're going to be talking over the actual practicality of this if you go into the legal memo and talk about First Amendment rights, what's overly broad, what's vague. I think you need to look to me to tell you what might be vague and overly broad and what might be in violation of First Amendment. I cannot do that today. I'm not prepared to do that today, but if you would give me the direction to do that, I can bring that back to your next meeting.
I think that that would be, I think the course of action this morning would be to defer this. The one thing I would ask Jay is, do we need to ask council, which we do have council next week, if they're okay that we proceed with that direction?
Yeah, I think that's fine. I think the town council direction is to continue studying these various sections related to noise. I wanted to make some comments, and if you would allow me right now,
Of course.
so regarding what we have done thus far in terms of making changes to the code to improve the quality of life in town by creating some more restrictions related to noise, in particular construction and landscape related noise. So there's been a number of things that you as a committee have recommended to council, and council as a whole adopting them. And I do want to spend a moment before we leave the question of noise to clarify some things in terms of gas blowers and effective dates and things like that. But as far as deferring a substantive conversation about what else can we do in terms of proposed amendments, completely fine with waiting a month. Let's Skip have a little bit more time to take a look at these issues, and then we can get into more details next month. But we don't have to go back to council.
And before we come to you, Jay, are you, Ted, are you okay with that?
Absolutely.
Okay, wonderful. So Jay, if you'd like to go ahead and make whatever comments you would like to make, let's do that. But
Sure.
afterwards, I'll move if you want to defer number one, other than your comments,
Yep.
to the next ORS meeting or whenever Skip is ready.
Sounds good to me. Really, my comments were, more limited to the fact that we have adopted a couple of different ordinances, over the last couple of months that changed the code. And anytime that there is change, there's a period of time where there's some confusion, clarification, and confirmation in terms of what our new reality is. So, we're thankful to the community and the different industries involved and staff and trying to get everyone on the same page. And it does take some time. So I know that code enforcement and planning and zoning and all of those who are involved have been working on updating our information, pushing out news releases, trying to clarify for people what the rules are and when certain rules go into effect. One of the things that created a little bit of confusion in today's backup is regarding some changes to gas-powered leaf blowers. Ordinance 29, as you both know, as everyone knows, was adopted on second reading at the last council meeting. The backup today was prepared actually before that meeting. So there's some language that's in here that wasn't the language that was adopted. If you look at the language that was adopted in Ordinance 29, it effectively says that the current prohibition on gas-powered blowers on small properties less than an acre is in effect. You can't use that at this moment in time. And then beginning on May 1, all other properties do come into the prohibition. So a couple of things. One, I received a note from Councilwoman Lindsay, who wanted to be on today to listen, and I promised her that I would pass on her comments. And her comments really were related to the violations that she is still seeing on properties that are less than an acre. And, concerned that, there still may be continued misunderstanding or maybe not, perhaps, maybe these folks are, are just trying to do their thing and waiting to be slapped on the wrist. But she is advised that pretty much every day when she walks on a lake trail, there is a landscaper or more than one landscaper using gas-powered leaf blowers. And, most of those properties are not more than an acre. So I promised I would bring this up, and I know Ben is on, so passing it on to Ben as well. I know we patrol these areas from time to time, but it might be an area that we take a look at ensuring peace and quiet until the all-out May 1 ban goes into effect. The other thing that I wanted to just kind of bring to your attention, and I suspect that this is going to probably bubble up a bit to the council and back to you, is some concern that I'm hearing from our golf courses. These big properties that rely on all kinds of equipment to keep these properties pristine. And the code has today a section that pertains to golf courses. And there are exceptions that are in there that allow the use of certain equipment after a certain hour, so that we don't allow equipment within, I think 50 yards or 100 yards to a residence to occur before a certain period of time. So there's been some concerns expressed, and I expect a formal response from all of the golf courses here in the community about this, about the gas-powered leaf blower ban and how that will affect them. So I don't know, we didn't have this conversation as we were studying this issue. We didn't have a specific conversation about golf courses. So I wanted to bring that up today just to kind of plant that seed and see if the legislative intent of this language was for all properties regardless, period, end of story? Or, did we miss giving consideration to golf courses like we do for other things that exist in the code? So I wanted to throw that out there to you.
Okay, I have is that all you have?
Yes, it is. Thank you.
I have a couple of comments too. First of all, we usually exempted out golf courses, but I do feel Saturdays are very important. So I think this may be a discussion we should have at council.
Okay.
Because I don't think Ted and I can make that decision. I think that hearing from the council members and hearing from the owners of the golf courses or the board members of the clubs is going to be essential for us to make a decision, and we have until May.
Yes.
So I think, if we get it on, it's probably too late to get it on this month's agenda, but we can certainly bring it up in our report for the next council meeting, and hopefully there we could put on the agenda and a discussion item in particular for golf courses and leaf blowers. I, like Bobby, have experienced the same. I saw 11 violations in one 7-block radius. There was a lot of confusion, which I think has been cleared up, but due to a press release within both the police department and code and owners, so we are trying to get educated. There are some people, because I certainly talked to one gentleman who said that he didn't care about code. Basically, it's just that the owner needed this stuff planted. Well, that was a pure violation. But one of the issues was that, and I certainly got on the phone with the captain and other people, that the police were confused as well. So I think that's all been cleared up, and I'm looking forward to hearing from Mr. Alma. What I'm seeing a lot of is construction violations, especially on Saturdays, and landscape violations. And they're right out in the open. So my feeling is, for the most part, they just don't know. And I think I told you the story of when I saw all of those and called in to try to at least have everyone go to educate, and then got home and found the person who works for my mother was there. And I went to him because he owns the company. He never violates rules, and he didn't know. So I truly believe, and I found them at my house in a violation, and I had to go to them and explain. So I think getting these cheat sheets that we have created out to all the landscape companies, and maybe we can have them in the officers' cars so that they can actually hand them out for the first couple of months to the landscapers, because there is a lot of confusion, especially amongst them. And also I'm catching a lot of people from the 8 to 9 hour with landscapers who are using, or construction people who are using leaf blowers or other things, which that is not permitted. And I think they just don't know, because again, the company that works at my house, they're very diligent about following the law and work for the town a lot. And he was unaware of that 8 to 9 and also that Saturday. They're now aware. But what are you doing to educate? What is our plan on that? And then I'll go to Ted.
Yeah, I think I see Ben turn on his camera, and Ben's the perfect person to give us an update on how that all is going. But let me just remind everyone that the new 8 to 9 or the 8 to 9 quiet hour it has been in effect. It's season. The change was in the summer. That new 8 to 9. So again, a lot of this is education. We appreciate the community and your patience as we continue to educate. But and I know that code enforcement and their team have been really hard at work at this. So I'm gonna let Ben. I'm not gonna speak for Ben. Let Ben give us a quick update.
Okay. Do we want Ted? Would you like to speak for a second before Ben does, in case there are?
No, it'd probably be better if I waited to hear from Ben.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon, Ben.
All of you are correct. Yes, there was a lot of confusion when this first came out. We had our code officers, our police officers were stepping out, were contractors who thought it was going to be in May. Some didn't even know it at all. This had changed.